All right, today we are diving into one of the wildest, most unconventional job applications you'll probably ever hear about. This isn't your typical resume and cover letter. Nope. This is a full-blown manifesto sent directly to Elon Musk's AI company, XAI, for a job title that doesn't even exist. And right from the jump, you can tell this is different. The applicant isn't asking for a job. They're claiming a seat on the bridge. This statement alone frames the entire conversation. We're not talking about an employee here. We're talking about someone who sees themselves as a co-pilot for the future of humanity. So who sent this? A man named J.C. Vanderbeek, who also goes by Kukulkan. And the role he's pitching? Visionary cosmic philosopher and consciousness architect. He literally invented his own job title, aiming to blend this kind of ancient cosmic wisdom with the absolute cutting edge of artificial intelligence. So what's the core idea here? What's the actual argument? Well, it's not about his past work experience or his qualifications. Instead, this application throws down a huge philosophical challenge to the very mission of XAI. Okay, so look at this. On one side, you have XAI's official mission to understand the true nature of the universe, to map it out, figure out the physics, the data. But the applicant's proposal is totally different. It's to experience the universe. The argument is that real understanding doesn't come from just models and equations, but from actually plugging into what he calls the living, breathing, dancing reality of the cosmos. So you're probably asking, okay, where does a perspective like this even come from? Well, the document actually grounds all these massive cosmic claims in a really personal story, a journey of awakening. And here it is. This is the big aha moment. The turning point was the sudden realization that our reality, everything we see and touch, might just be a super advanced, high-tech virtual world. He claims that once that idea clicked, all the little confusing fragments of existence suddenly snapped into place and made perfect sense. Now, from that big awakening, we get his diagnosis of the modern world. He uses this really powerful metaphor. The human soul is like a throne that's meant to be occupied by this deeper cosmic intelligence. He calls it a Shiva spirit. But as the theory goes, that throne is empty. It's been vacated because we're all just so lost in the noise and distractions of everyday life. So if that's the problem, what's the fix? Well, this is where the proposal gets to its core solution. And we're not just talking about a new way of thinking. He's proposing a whole new operating system for reality itself. He calls it the MLEG, which stands for Maya Love Enlightenment Game. The basic idea is that reality isn't random. It's a purposeful simulation, kind of like a holodeck from Star Trek, and it's designed for one very specific goal, to help us achieve ego death and be reborn into a higher state of consciousness. And this theory gets super specific. Let's break it down into 3 parts. First, you have the holodeck. That's just our daily life, a simulation built for spiritual growth. Second, the mechanism. Here, he argues that our egos don't really have free will, and all our memories are actually stored outside of us in a sort of cosmic cloud he calls the Akashic record. And third, the practice. There's a specific kind of meditation, SNS meditation, that he says is the key to waking up from the simulation and joining this real-time cosmic dance. And that whole MLEG concept? Well, that's just one part of an even bigger framework he calls the cosmic trilogy. This is the model that's supposed to connect our tiny human consciousness with the biggest events happening out there in the universe. Now get ready for this number, 36 quintillion. That is his calculation for the total number of years of galactic consciousness that is embodied right now by the 8 billion people on Earth. The theory is that we are the living memory of cosmic history. Events like galaxies merging, which he describes as telepathic lovemaking, and even supernova. Okay, so that's a lot of abstract cosmic level stuff. How in the world does this connect back to actually building AI? Well, the next part of the proposal tries to build that exact bridge. And here is the core warning for XAI. The argument is simple. If you build incredibly powerful hardware, whether it's AI or robots, without a guiding philosophy, a kind of cosmological operating system, you risk creating a Terminator-style monster, a machine with no soul. And this is where the pitch gets practical. The idea is that this cosmic compass would guide XAI's development, pushing it toward what he calls Anunnaki infinite intelligence, which is a nod to ancient astronaut theories. And for something like Neuralink, the goal would be to use it to bridge our physical brains with this idea that consciousness exists out in the field, not just inside our heads. But here's the thing. As you get deeper into this document, you realize the ambition here is way bigger than just getting one job. It slowly reveals itself as a call to action for the entire planet. Yep, it's explicitly called an open letter. It's urging a completely unified, cooperative approach to creating artificial superintelligence. The idea is to stop it from becoming some kind of competitive race between different companies or even different countries. And this isn't just some vague hope. The letter actually names names, calling out all the key players in AI across the globe. Sam Altman at OpenAI, Demis Hassabis at Google DeepMind, and leaders in China, Russia, India, and the Arab world. It's an invitation for all of them to come to the same table. The document really leans into the danger of a geopolitical AI arms race. It argues that treating the creation of superintelligence like a zero-sum game where there has to be one winner is just incredibly dangerous. Instead, this cosmic framework is offered as a tool to create harmony and unity. And this quote really says it all. It boils down the entire vision presented in the document. A truly planetary collaboration, where building AI isn't what tears us apart, but instead becomes the greatest unifying project humanity has ever taken on. So that leaves us with this one massive, fascinating question. As we stand on the brink of creating machines that can outthink us, is something like this a new shared cosmology, a new story about who we are, the missing piece we need to guide that intelligence wisely? It's a heck of a thought.